What is up, and welcome back to Cryptographics for another stream. And today we're going to be doing the day 14 of Torus.win and the update of what is going on behind the scenes, in the scenes, the whole 9 yards. And before we get into today's stream, I want to let you guys know that there's going to be a little something that we're going to drop at the end of this stream or sometime near the end of the stream. So if you are tuning in live, make sure you stay until the end, because I'm going to be unveiling a little sneak peek at the first use case of Taurus coming very, very soon. So you're going to want to stick around and find out what the heck I'm about to show you, because it's pretty damn exciting. So stick around to the end for that. And before we get into the stream and we look at everything going on with Taurus, let me just quickly welcome everyone that's in here right now. We have Kirill. Welcome. Hey, good evening, sir. Good evening to you, and hope you're doing well. Ali Kane, the man. Stay tuned. Drock, bring it. All right. And if you are watching this on X, be sure to blast this out. Share this as far and wide as you can. If you're watching on the Cryptographics channel or the Taurus channel, make sure you're sharing that as far and wide as you can and repost it, like it, leave a comment, the whole 9 yards, to help get this as far and wide as possible. So let's get right into it. Let's not waste any more time. And let's go to Torus.win. And I'm going to make sure my screen is actually shared, so I'm not just talking to you guys aimlessly for a little while. Actually, you know what? Let's go first and look at the TitanX chart. Let's get a little update of what's been happening in the ecosystem. And in TitanX right now, well, we have an interesting little situation happening here where we have found a little bit of a bounce because we've dropped from our top here, which is pretty clear sign of resistance we were heading towards. And now we found a little bit of support down here, and we'll see what's happening, or we'll see what happens. But it looks like, I mean, if you look at all the structure going on here and we look at where we are with the wrapped ETH chart, this does look like it should be a bottom. Now, obviously, we've said this time and time again. We thought this was a bottom here, and we're down here. Could make all new all-time lows in terms of wrapped ETH. What that would mean, though, is that we were actually going to make, basically, if we make all-time lows in wrapped ETH terms, we are going to come back down and touch this low again. But hey, I'm not a TA guy. I'm a systems guy, and I'm a math guy. So I'm not going to comment any further on that. But things are looking good. We had a lot of whales that were selling out yesterday, a lot of bigger sells, and now we're down to just small sells, it seems. We had a number of 4-digit, 5-digit sells yesterday, and everything is looking better and better. So TitanX is doing its thing. It's looking solid. ETH, let me go to Glassnode, and let's check out what Glassnode is showing us for the ETH prices right now, because this is all obviously important to keep track of. And let's go to this one instead. And now, as you can see here, let me just zoom in on this. ETH is currently sitting over 3,700. BTC is up to 119,150, which is looking good. It's holding strong up there, actually. So, I mean, things are looking fantastic. So, ETH is up, BTC is staying up, and TitanX has bounced a little, and it looks like it's wanting to recover. So, things are looking pretty good. Now, let's go look at Torus.win. So, if you don't know what Taurus is, let me give you a quick overview of what Taurus is. If this is your first time tuning in, Taurus is the first of its kind where you can come to this dApp and continue to grow your bag easily and simply. Whether it's a bull market or a bear market, you're always able to take advantage and basically utilize the prices high and low to use an action that benefits you the most. You can think about Taurus like if you could stake your BTC to compete with miners or the mining farms, hardware, people that can mine. That's Taurus. Deflationary, cap supply, hyper deflationary, has a buy and burn, a buy and build, meaning it buys and burns its own tokens. It builds its own liquidity pool. It burns the underlying token that it's built on top of, and it is designed to operate perpetually. So as you can see right now in the dApp, there's a crazy number here for the ROI. And I will possibly at some point in this stream explain this, but this is essentially an average over the daily ROIs that people are earning. And we actually just had a cool update today, courtesy of the team, to update. So if you want to come and look at what the ROIs are for staking or creating for the total length that you've selected here of up to 88 days, and with the amount that you selected to stake, or the power, meaning the number of dollars in TitanX terms that you want to come in and create with, you can toggle between the total, meaning over 88 days, or daily, meaning basically what am I going to earn on a daily basis. And currently the daily ROI is 180%. Whew, it's pretty wild to see that number actually being real, especially considering everyone on testnet was seeing 400 or 500% and thinking like, oh, are these numbers going to be real? And I mean, those were dwarfed, I mean, by crazy magnitude. And the cool thing is, if you're watching this for the first time and you do like the sound of Torus and you're thinking about participating a little bit, you don't even have to know what TitanX is. You can come in with ETH. You don't have to buy TitanX, and you can deposit ETH into the contract. It is going to create you a number of Torus here. You're going to earn over the length that you have selected, and you can select how much you want to deposit into the contract based on how much power you select here, between 1 and 1 million. So this is all completely up to you. And again, you can toggle the daily ROI or the total ROI expected, or estimates, I should say, by the end of this. Now, the one thing I want to make very clear is that these estimates are going to go down because, well, they're generally going to go down because people coming after you are going to dilute your share of the pool, because there is a set number of tokens per day that can be earned on a declining scale. And everyone that comes in that pool means that there is less per person. So this is the quick and dirty of Torus.win, and a couple other updates as well. We've had the total section down here at the bottom. So once you've created or staked, you'll see your total power added up, the amount of created Torus you're guaranteed at the end of your creation, the amount of earned Torus that you have accrued so far, and your total current ROI here as well. Which, I mean, if you're looking at this, I made a test transaction just to see, with my donation wallet, exactly how this is going to go. And we're currently sitting at 369.11. I mean, that's a pretty cool number. I like that number. That's special. I haven't seen that before. That's cool. If you're into numerology and you know what's built into Torus, well, these numbers are integral. So, I mean, that's really cool to see, actually. Very, very cool. Anyways, though, who likes 2,800% ROI? I know I do. And Torus has been absolutely crushing it. And if you are actually in Torus, you have your creations or your stakes, and you're absolutely loving it, go and click this share button here. And you're going to be able to take a screenshot of your ROI, and you're going to be able to post it and share it far and wide on X. And make sure you're tagging Torus Win as well as the money sign Torus to let people know that the ticker sign is Torus. And make sure you're using welcome to the Torus or whatever else you think is necessary to help get the word out about Torus. Now, let me just go back to the chat real quick. And Crypto Jag says, Torus is just perfect. Great job, my man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Took a long time to get this thing right. So, and like I've said before, it was not just me at the wheel with this one. I mean, I talked to and had so many calls with, builders, a few builders in the space, as well as just friends and people in my circle. And so many people helped shape Torus to be what it is. So I appreciate it. And also great job to everyone that helped with this, because your thoughts and your questions and feedback made Torus what it is today, which is not just one person creating Torus. So it's much bigger than that. What is up, Penny? Good to see you. What's good? Good to have you here. Natalie, thank you for reposting the stream. And Alex, like the video. Make sure you're liked, subscribed, followed, the whole line. It's just the typical, right? You guys know what to do. I don't have to tell you guys that anymore. But let me bring the comments on stage. I might not have timed this well, so it might not work. Maybe it will. We'll see. I'm not sure if it's going to load. Currently, it's not loading. I'll give it a moment. So let's get into the meat and potatoes, though. So if we go to the buy and burn, let's take a quick look and see how we are sitting. So currently, we have in the buy and burn, not including what will be deposited later, that's sitting in the fractal, we have ready to rock 300,000, in $100,000 in ETH, and $200,000 sitting in TitanX, which is dedicated to buying and burning Torus. You heard that right. 14 days in, we have $300,000 dedicated, to buying and burning Torus. That's absolutely bonkers for 14 days in. And anyone can come and call these functions by clicking this button here and paying the gas fee and receiving a reward, which, hey, if this is too little, just let this build up a little bit until it gets to the point where you are happy with it and you're willing to pay, and then go right ahead and click the buy button or the buy and burn button, and you'll be given this reward for calling the amount that is here. And you can do this for both contracts. Both contracts go from ETH. Well, this one goes from ETH to Torus. This one goes from TitanX to Torus, and they're both independent of one another. It can be called at separate times. Now, the buy and build also has $200,000 in buy and burn, just chilling in it. And that to me is amazing. We almost have $210,000. And if you don't know what the buy and build is, the buy and build is dedicated to buying Torus and placing the Torus and the TitanX that it has in the contracts into liquidity to build up the liquidity pool. Now, that means that this is going to become, that Torus itself is going to become way more stable over time. It is going to have very thick liquidity. It can allow for large transactions swapping into Torus and out of Torus. All sorts of liquidity provider games are going to be there. And there's just going to be a whole lot of opportunity for, just everything, right? It's just going to be more mature market very, very quickly. And that's by design. So again, we have 300K in the buy and burn contracts. We have 200K in the liquidity contract. And we also have another 100 and almost 40,000 that is going to be redeposited into the buy and burn come day 110. So this brings us up to a total of $440,000 in the buy and burn contracts. Part of it is deferred into the future. The other part is going to be is currently ready to rock whenever. So the buy and burns are looking amazing. The market price right now is $8.91. And I want to go back to the Torus chart real quick. And I want to show you guys that the power of the buy and burn right now. So if you're looking at the USD chart looks, still pretty good, right? Up, we've come down a little bit, we've corrected, but still coming down from $3.50 or coming down to rocketing up to $12 and change, and then coming down to a nice correction here, just shy of $9. This looks pretty good, but where it gets really special, and I think is the most important place to pay attention, and I'll explain this in a moment, but the USD chart is great for the ROI, right? It looks fantastic. It helps the numbers. It really gives you something to be excited about in terms of how much your Torus is worth that you're earning through staking or creating. But if you want to see the health of the system, and by health, I mean where we are in terms of where the sweet spot is, right? This is the chart here that you want to look at, which is the TitanX to Torus ratio. Now, this is really important to understand, okay? The crossover point here that is I've highlighted by this pink box is the point where creating and staking basically flip over. So if we go to the DApp right now and I show you the earn page, we can see that the creation ROI is 15,000, nearly 16,000%. And if we go to the staking ROI, it's 3,500%. And I almost said only 3,500%, but 3,500% is pretty ridiculous. This is a 37x essentially. So the reason this is so high though, versus the staking ROI, is because of this ratio. And let's go back to the chart and let me make this very clear for you guys. So because we are 4.3 times, or basically, almost 4.4 times higher than this point here, this is the crossover point where staking becomes more profitable than creating. So if you see in the Torus DApp, if we go back here again, if we were to multiply this here by 4.3, you're going to get a number that's basically this, right? And so if we are understanding that this ratio is telling us how in favor of creating or staking that we are currently in terms of what the ROIs are signaling to, we can see that we're quite high in comparison to this crossover point. And this system is designed specifically to operate in a nice, smooth fashion, kind of like this, right? And eventually it might just end up being right here, right, over time. But this volatility is going to change as time goes on. And so, as you can see, we are quite high in price in comparison to where this kind of center point is here. And that means that the ROI in creation is quite high. And as you can tell by the way the system works, or as I've been telling you about the buy and burn relative to the system works, how the system works, the buy and build and the buy and burn seem to be set to their lowest settings currently. Now they're still building up and they're still able to be called quite a bit. And I'm going to get to something here that was made by a community member that is super cool that I want to show you guys. And actually, I realized I wasn't even sharing deck screener here. And so I apologize. Let me just go back to the chat, make sure you guys weren't telling me that very thing. Investologic, good to see you in here. Yo, so much profit incoming. I've seen a lot of massive ROIs popping out of the DApp, and it's so damn cool to see. CryptoJag, can you talk a little bit about price action on day 88, 89, 90, etc. when initial creations come due, and thoughts about Taurus price impact? Thank you. Yes, I will definitely do that. Give me a little bit to go through all the deets, and then we will get here because I really want to make sure that this is talked about. So I'm going to star your comment, make sure it's in the background. Thank you for your question. And let me go to Cluster Chuck. I hope buy and burns run slowly. Better to burn later rather than sooner. It's fine if Taurus price goes down a little when new tokens enter circulating supply. Stakers will probably soak it up anyways. It's not a bad point. So there's a lot of possibilities when it comes to the buy and burn, but the best way to understand how this system will best operate relative to the buy and burn is to just watch and see when it gets turned up, when it gets utilized. And there's four different contracts. So you're going to see possibly a different use case for each of those relative to if it is the TitanX or if it's the ETH contracts in either the buy and burn or the buy and build. But there is a specific time when things will make most sense in this system to be building all of that up. And there's also a time relative to what TitanX is doing. So I don't want to say too much, but let's carry on here. I'm going to come back to you, CryptoJag, and I do want to showcase a community member's page that they actually made for Taurus, which is super sweet. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you guys that shortly here. So this is the ratio. We know that now this is quite high. This is the median point here. We're probably going to come back down here at some point. I mean, we also might rock it up. I don't know. I mean, this is way higher than I anticipated it being. And this is a lot to do with at least this part here, people staking. This is some stakers in here. And this is a combination of staking and buy and burn that is kind of pushing that price up relative to TitanX. And this is also another reason why I wanted to show you guys the TitanX chart, because if you're looking at the USD value of Taurus or just Taurus, what you'll see is we've been going down for a number of days now. We've kind of gone down over the last 8 days, about 26%. But if we go to the TitanX Taurus ratio, something else starts to emerge here. And we actually are down only 2.25% from our all-time high. And in fact, we've gone up from our bottom at 36.75 million TitanX per Taurus. So this is why it's important to understand the two ratios and what they signify, and to really make sure you're watching the right ones with the right framework. So please make sure you're watching this. This is the ratio to watch to understand the health of the system. And I just realized that my camera just froze. And so what I'm going to do real quick is I am going to do a F1 pit stop, possibly quite soon. I'm going to let this other one charge up quickly here, but hopefully my rabbit or my bunny and my duck can make do for now with the Taurus and Unity logos. So let's keep going. Let's see here. Let's go back to actually, let me bring up the Dune dashboard in just 1 second. Let's go to TitanX stats and let's share this tab instead. So Taurus has now officially brought in 2.7 trillion TitanX. That is insane. We have 432 billion TitanX in the liquidity pool. We have 2.1 trillion sitting in the contracts, and we've burned nearly 150 billion TitanX. That is nuts for 14 days, and we're basically burning 10 billion a day, almost over 10 billion a day. That is absolutely bananas. And now let's go over to the Dune dashboard made by Mike Dean. And let's take a look at everything going on here. So I'm going to refresh some of these. And while we're waiting, we'll talk about some of the statistics. So let me go down here. I'm going to queue these up, and let me do this one as well. So while this is going on and while this is refreshing, yesterday, so day 14, we had 31 new creations, and holy smokes, that was fast. We had 34 creations as of yesterday, and for a grand total of 1,121 creations up to now. And if we come up here, I'm going to save this for a moment here. We're going to come look at this in just a moment. But we have seen officially, I'll wait for this to load. We've seen almost 800K come into the protocol. We have 68.2 ETH. And as you can see, we're a little bit behind on this calculation here, but this is about 2.7 trillion TitanX total deposited. And we are looking at a future max supply of over 10,110,000 at the moment. And as you can see here, this is the accumulation curve of when the supply really starts ramping up. And that's coming out about day 89 is when we really start to see it tick up. But about day 70 is when we start to see quite a bit of supply coming up. And as we break over that 100,000 mark, we are officially at about day 58 when all of this actually comes to about 100,000 cumulative tokens that have come out here. So we have quite a lot of clear skies where there's not a lot of tokens coming out up to about day 58, which is a long time. That is another 44 days away. It's quite a lot of time. And this is the thing that I really want to talk about here is this chart specifically. So, man, I'm going to bring up another screenshot that I keep bringing up because I really want you guys to understand. I know a lot of you watching currently do understand already, but this here, let me see. Is it this one? It is. Sweet. So I'm going to pull this up. So check this out. This was on July 13th. So this is 4 days after launch. Okay. The day 89. So if we were to look at this in comparison to the chart we were just looking at, and actually, let me just, I'm sharing the screen. Cool. So as you can see, the total token unlock for day 89 here, which is the giant spike, was as high as 3.9 million tokens that was due to come out. And this is based on day 4, right? So in the beginning, this giant spike was as high as 4.7 or about 4.7 million. When I actually did get to see it on day 2, when Mike had placed this Dune dashboard up to be viewed. So if remember this number, 3.9 day 4, 4.7 day 2. So it's coming down. But how much more has it come down? And now we're on day 14. We are going into complete day 15. And we have officially reduced that number to a total of 2.3 million tokens. We are basically cracking under 2.3. I think we're going to be going into the single or the 1.9, 1.8 million tokens coming out of that day, probably within the next few days. It would not shock me at all. We've basically been going down about 100,000 tokens a day, which is so cool. And again, I remember that Jag had that question about day 9. We will talk about that soon. I want to get through these stats, but this is going to be a point we're going to come back to when it comes to the day 89, 90, 91 token supply unlocks and how this is all going to work over time. So again, coming down here, we have a huge amount of creations coming out on day 89 and day 88. Day 90, 91, 92, and so on. There's a pretty big stack of creations coming out here. And as you can see, we've had a nice steady, not faltering. We've actually had very consistent creations being done over the last number of days. We've had 35, 36, 32, 34, 34. And it wouldn't shock me if day 15 also gets 34. I mean, at this point, we're getting very, very consistent results. And people are starting to talk about it. People are getting excited. You guys are starting to understand Taurus. And I also want to bring up, Kflow, as well as a couple other tweets that you guys have been making that have been making me laugh or making me smile. And we'll bring up Kflow first here. And so this was a fun one. Dear Taurus Win, I understand you're a hungry machine that just wants to absorb all my TitanX, but no. Get back, you monster. The ROI is too tempting, and I will not be lured in by such great gains. This is an awesome post. I've been seeing a lot more of this type of sentiment coming in. I mean, we have people in the chat saying they've started their 6th, 7th, 8th Taurus creation, and they aren't stopping anytime soon. So people are getting hungry to participate in Torus.win. And this is really exciting because there's so much opportunity to gain share in the system that will not be able to be had once the future gets a little bit, or once we go a little bit close or a little bit longer into the future. And for example, so people who are earning supply now, every Torus that you earn is worth 7,744 shares when staked for 88 days. Or if you create one Torus, it's worth 7,744 shares when you are creating for 88 days. So essentially, the more Torus you can get now at the highest levels of inflation, the more the higher the share of the pool that you're going to be able to get, that is going to make it extremely difficult for others to actually get that share of supply. So choose wisely on your actions here when it comes to creating and staking, because making the right decisions now is going to set you up for a massive potential win in the future for your ability to maintain and actually continue to earn supply into the future. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to get a drink of water, and I'm going to quickly change up my battery on my camera so you guys can see me again and I can see you. All right. So let's see here. Maybe more comments while I'm waiting and while I'm changing this. So let me talk a little bit about the price action on day 88 to 89, 90. And actually, while I am about to open this up, let me go back to the Dune dashboard and I will share this so I can multitask. So now that we're talking about day 89, 90, 91, this is a very important conversation because as I was showing you guys, the supply, the big concern typically stems from, you know, when we saw TitanX back in the day, day 280, right? Everyone was very concerned about all of the supply that was coming out on day 280. And there's a few reasons, obviously, why that was so scary, because the more people mined, the more 280, those 280-day miners received in T rank bonus. So it was a bit of a feedback loop per se, where the more people participated, the more supply there was. And to a ridiculous degree, because everyone that was in before the people that were mining next were getting extra TitanX. And so you had this situation where it was like the more people that came in the system, the more this spiked up, right? Until we had like trillions of TitanX coming out in a single day. And this was a big concern because everyone was thinking we were just going to dump, right? It was going to come out, we were going to go to zero. Everyone was very concerned. And you know what we did that day? Let me show you. That day was August 2nd. Here's August 2nd. Look what we did after that. We did 8 or 9x, and I did a terrible job at this. But essentially, let me just do this properly here. So here is August 2nd. Down here at the bottom. And then we went all the way up over the next 1, 2, 3 months. So my point here is that, can there be price drops? Absolutely. I mean, I don't want to equate this to day 280 too much because it's different than TitanX, you know, and I don't want people to think like, because TitanX did this, Torus will do that. You could equate this to Torus because this is the first time where there's going to be a bunch of supply unlocking, right? But the difference is the way Torus is designed is that you don't have to have, you like once in TitanX, if you mined, you could then stake, but you need to stake for 10 years and you didn't have access to that for 10 years. You could get your ETH if you claimed any, or if there was any ETH in the pool, but then that dried up. So staking didn't make any sense. So the only reason was to hold for speculation or just sell, right? And this was a bit of a cascading loop here for, why we saw price in conjunction with the T rank and all of this. So the difference with TitanX and Torus is that Torus mitigates all of these because people that create and earn a lot of supply are highly incentivized to utilize those tokens they've earned, to stake them, to go back into the Torus system and continue to earn. And this incentive, while having the same number of days that you can stake for, minimal costs, but still paying something forward into the system, incentivizes users to do behavior that is other than just selling. Now, selling is probably going to happen, right? I mean, it's always going to be on the table. So I am not saying for a second that we're going to see a day 280, lookalike where all of a sudden we're just going to go straight up. I can't imagine that. But what I can see and how this is designed is that as we go down in price, now again, in price relative to TitanX, because this is the thing that really matters. I'm actually going to most of the time ignore this chart. This chart looks great, but I am actually going to ignore this. This is not the chart that actually matters to me nearly as much as this, because this shows how Torus is performing relative to TitanX. And again, this is the important one here. So what I would expect is, to some degree, let's say this is day 89 right here. Okay. Just because if we were coming up to this point, I would expect to see some selling and we would go somewhere down towards this 10 million spot here. Eventually, this could take longer. It could be shorter. But as we get into this spot where we're now below this 10 million to 1 area, what actually happens is people aren't creating, they're not bringing TitanX and ETH. They're actually incentivized to buy Torus on the market or hold it to stake it back in the system. Because most times when you get past a certain point, people might just say, I'm going to take my losses and go somewhere else. But because you can take your tokens and put them back to work in the system, this whole area becomes a hotspot where now people that want to leave once they get in here can actually be giving other people their positions in the system, which means that you and I could go in and we can actually buy at a discount, essentially shares in the system, and then stake. And so all of this being said, this is the most incentivized way you could get that I've come up with to mitigate sell pressure past a certain point and actually incentivize buy pressure. Once we get in here as well, then we're kind of in that sweet spot. So what you might see is you might see the buy and burn turn on, because this is a great area to start burning tokens and deflating. And you also might see the buy and burn, or the buy and build, kick on, because this is going to be a great area to get stability for this protocol, because most of the ROI is going to come in two parts, one from internal and one from the ROI relative to, or the price of Torus relative to TitanX, right? And over time, this area here is not flatline. I've done this here just for simplicity, but actually what happens here is every day the system is a little bit more difficult to earn in. And what means is these lines actually do this over time against TitanX. And for the line to get here, this is going to take about 867 days. So it's quite a while. It's very slow. But this is the beauty of the Torus system, and why I'm not concerned at all about the day 89, 90, 91 extravaganza, so we could call it. That's, people are going to sell, but everything is in place to mitigate that, to support the system. And I'll say this again. I've said this. I lost track of how many times I've said this now, but Torus doesn't prove itself on the way up. To me, making a price chart go up, not important in Torus. It is in terms of its feedback loop. That's great. Like, I obviously want the chart to go up, but Torus proves itself on the way down. That is the big thing with Torus, because if it can prevent itself by its incentive structure, its buy and burn, its buy and build, the opportunities in the system, the ROIs, the constant resetting of the ROIs, and the introducing of constant demand into the system, then this is what will allow Torus to perform. And if it performs well, it's going to suck in a ton of TitanX and ETH over the months, weeks, and years ahead. And that will all feed back into TitanX, causing scarcity and demand into TitanX, which will boost the price of TitanX, which lifts Torus and all ships attached to TitanX. So I know I've just said a whole hell of a lot, But I hope, where is he here? Crypto Jag. I'm going to bring your question up again. I hope that helps. If you need any more clarity on this, let me know. I am more than happy to just go off on a freaking tangent on this. I love talking about this stuff. So if anything didn't make sense, anything needs a little bit more clarity, then go ahead and drop another comment and I will hammer on that as soon as I see it. So I see a couple more great comments though. So let's go into Geld Magnet. Or is it Geld? I hope I'm getting that right. Sorry if I'm not. Is it ever a good idea to stake when the stake percentage is lower than the create percentage? So the way that I can answer this question is say that, I can't tell you what to do, right? It depends on what your strategy is. Like I'll say one reason why staking is potentially a good play, even when creation ROI is higher. I'm going to counter both of them. Okay. Now, this isn't me telling you what to do. There's other strategies than this. You have to come up with your own way of doing this. I am not telling you in any way, shape, or form how to play this, but I'm going to tell you one simple reason why staking is more beneficial when the creation ROI is up. And I'm also going to say another reason why the creation ROI is more beneficial to balance things out. But when you're staking, you have the luxury of ending your stake at the 50% mark, or ending your stake anywhere between 50% and 100%, which means that you can buy on the market, or if you've created and you're staking again, what this means is that you can effectively lock up your tokens, right? And you can be earning over that period. But let's say for whatever reason, the price skyrockets, right? And you're like, you know what? I would love to be able to get out and do something with my principal right now. You could actually end your stake early. You'd forfeit some, if not all, of what you've earned, but you'd be able to get your principal back out early. And that's an advantage that staking has that creation doesn't. Right now, the downside to that is you're losing all your earned tokens. 50% of those earned tokens are burned forever from supply, and the other 50% are sent back to everyone else in the pool the moment that you claim. So it's definitely a costly move, and it has to be well worth it. You have to know what you're doing. But that is one of the benefits to being able to stake, is that you can end before the end of your period that you've selected, right? Before 88 days. And the creation side, this is where things get interesting. And you have to just understand that there is the run-of-the-mill follow basically the metrics. That's one way to play things, but there's also more nuanced and complex strategies that you can play that are far beyond just the stock. Like, one thing that you do need to realize is that if you're trying to get the most tokens possible only by using the way the system is designed, well, then it's kind of easy to see at any given moment what's the best way to, bring in a dollar. Now, again, this isn't always the most lucrative way to have the highest ROI, but this is typically the way you will get the most tokens in the system, not the most dollars worth of tokens, right? So if you come in here and let's say that you have $200 and you want to put it into Taurus, okay? You have two options. You can buy on the market, or you can create, or you can buy on the market and stake, or you can create. So if I come in here with $200 in ETH or TitanX, I'm going to create 98.88 Taurus up front. And that's currently worth $882 just creating up front. And I'm going to estimate, and the estimated earned is going to be 3,584 Taurus. So I'm basically looking at nearly $33,000 as my estimated value. And this is obviously going to change over time, but this is what the creation side is pointing to, right? So in order to get 98.88 tokens, you'd need to buy $882 worth, right? Let's also look at your shares. This is your earning capacity in the system. So your shares are 765,763.36. Remember these numbers, okay? So now, if I was to take this Taurus here, or we're going to create, and we're going to figure out how much $204 worth of Taurus is to stake, what that gives us for earning potential and our shares, right? So let's come here. I think it's probably about 25 Taurus. Let's see. 23 Taurus. Look at this. Remember, there was like 700,000 shares that you got for $200 staking, or for creating with $200 in the system. You're getting only 178,000 shares at the moment. And with 200 bucks, you're only getting 23 Taurus, and your only estimated earned is 834. So the point here is that it depends on your strategy. Following the system will typically get you the most tokens, but the token amounts don't always equal the highest ROI in dollar terms because the prices can fluctuate and all sorts of stuff, right? So you really have to think about what your strategy is, how you see the system playing out, how you see prices going out, where we are in the course of the market cycles, and so on and so forth. But this is the big thing to understand, is that when you come to the DApp, it's going to show you based on the same amount of tokens for either side what the ROIs are. But if you are actually looking at the equivalent dollar amount, right, then things change, right? So I hope that made sense. Let me just check in with the, I'm not even showing you guys the right screen again. Oh man, I did it again. I did it again. I got too excited. Okay, real quick. As you can see, if we come into the power here, 200 bucks. These are the stats that you're getting. You're creating $882 worth with $204. If I go over and stake 23 Taurus, which is worth $200, I'm only going to get 834 estimated earned. I'm going to get basically like a fifth of the amount of shares. It's just so underpowered if you're just going for tokens, right? Again, we go back over to the create with $200. 3,500 Taurus is what I'm estimated to earn over that 88-day period with putting in $204. If I stake and I put in 23, I'm only going to get 834. That's a huge difference, okay? And so I apologize. I wanted to go over that very quickly, but hopefully that's making sense. I really want you guys to understand this. There are more sophisticated strategies. There absolutely are. This is one way of looking at it, and I don't recommend anyone just follow the DApp for the sake of following the DApp. Understand why, and if the DApp makes sense to follow, perfect, right? But hey, this is something you have to decide for yourself. I can't tell you, nor do I want to tell you. Let's see here. Like, you could just sell Taurus for TitanX, then create with that. Why wouldn't always be the play with staking percentage return shows low, the creation percentage return, or am I missing something? So this is the creation ROI is specifically due to the price of Taurus relative to the price of TitanX. Now, if we go back to this chart here, this here, when the price of Taurus in TitanX terms comes down to this spot right here, then the creation ROI and the staking ROI is going to be exactly the same. Why? Because this is the point where 10 billion TitanX will be equal in value to 988.85 Taurus, meaning the ROI will literally only be based on what the extra earned Taurus is over and above what you have deposited and created up front, right? Effectively making the creation ROI and the staking ROI finally even. And this goes to show you that as Taurus climbs in price, this is what affects the creation ROI. If the Taurus price tanks, right, you could see the creation ROI being like negative percentage, and you could see the ROI for staking being positive because it's similar to like a hex APY or like a token APY, where if you put in 1,000 tokens and you earn 1,000 tokens, you have a 100% APY. It's not necessarily, there's dollars factored into it because of the staking fee, but it is not really affecting it that much, right? So this is why you're going to see the staking APY stay much more stable. It doesn't mean it's better or more stable. It just means that this is basically what you're earning in token amounts, right? But this is showing you when it's more beneficial to come in TitanX to earn from this avenue. I hope that's making sense. Let me go to the next one. If we hold Taurus and I want to go long, but percentage ROI is low for stakes, I see. Okay, so like you could sell Taurus for TitanX, then create with that. Why wouldn't that always be the play with stake percentage return shows lower than create? It depends, right? So if people are selling down the price of Taurus, like I just showed you, then you're going to see the ROI tank for creations, but the ROI for staking is going to stay nice and stable. And so that's why it's important to understand the system where you create when you can, or if it makes sense, or if it's part of your strategy. And then when the prices go down, past this 10 million to 1 point, and now staking is higher ROI. Now you go back, and typically you want to stake. You could hold, but typically then you want to stake. And that's the way it was designed. Thank you. Many minds have come into this. So it's one collective genius that has gone into this, and it has turned out beautifully and is working so damn well. I could not be more happy with how Taurus is going at the moment. My man, good to see you in here, K-Flow. That was good. I'm buying more. Let's go. That's what I want to hear. I'm happy to see you guys getting excited for Taurus. Oh, that's right. Staking can end early. Yes, exactly. I know. I get so excited and I move fast and I start talking and oh man, I'm going to get better at this. You'd think for streaming for years now, I would be dialed into this, but hey, it happens, man. And I'll get better at it. Can we once do some moon math for Torus TitanX prices for this bull cycle? We absolutely can. We definitely can. Let me just see if I'm missing anything. AO Ben says, why is the gas so expensive when creating with ETH, even though gas is cheap right now? Well, the way that this system is generating and basically, how do I put this? There is a lot of data to be validated for each block. Like this is quite the complex protocol. So it's definitely going to be a little higher than most other protocols that are not quite as complex. Now, complexity doesn't mean anything in terms of it's better or worse. It just means that complexity means there's more to process per transaction. And let me see an Ether scan here. What we're looking at for Gwei. I'm very curious. Let's see. Where's the Gwei? So now this is the thing. It really depends. I don't know what gas prices are right now in terms of what the DApp is showing for gas, but it should be anywhere from like $5 to $10 roughly. That seems about right, I think. But most dApps, yeah. So this is about like 5 to 10 is probably about right. I mean, on an expensive one, you're going to see 20 or 30 if the gas is really spiking. But I think when I did my test transaction in the beginning, the one that you've seen on the DApp, that one was about $5, I believe it was. So when fees really come down, then you're really going to see those prices drop. But yeah, about $5 to $10 is typical. And with the amount people are earning right now, I mean, $5 to $10 is not a bad entry point. You know, for an extra $5 or $10 to see how much to know you're earning at the moment about 180% daily ROI. It's just insane. I think the prices will stay strong around day 88. People will be buying TitanX to stake their Taurus, and the overall market plus ETH should be pumping in the fourth quarter of the year. I do feel similar to this. Like, I think day 88, 89 isn't going to be as significant as people think. I personally, if I was to bet on how I could see things going, let me share the price chart here. I would actually suspect as we have more cumulative supply coming out, like up to date, even 58, we're probably going to see the sell-off of those who did shorter stakes and creations prior to the 80 some odd 90-day mark. And so it wouldn't shock me if we're already down in this area somewhere much before we get to that point. Wouldn't shock me at all. And if that's the case, I could see well, there's no need for us to drop too much more because we could drop a little bit lower. We could drop into this area here, and we very well might. But I think once we get into this area, the chances of us dropping too much lower on that day significantly lessen because people have had the opportunity to really look at the system and place some form of value on it and then decide to at least stake some, right? And I mean, and we still have the buy and burn. We have the buy and build at that point. The fractal's only a handful of days away. So, I mean, we're going to have a lot of firepower to deal with this when it comes to incentivization, people wanting to stake. If the prices come down here, you can get people possibly buying Taurus on the market to stake in the system. You'll have the buy and burn. That'll be able to go to work. You'll have the buy and build. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. And I agree with you. I think 88, 89, 90, 91, those days are going to be a lot less significant than people might think of at first. So I appreciate that comment. I think that's a great point. Uptober. It could very well be Uptober, especially if ETH keeps rocketing. TitanX is looking stronger here. We're getting some higher lows on the chart, and this could really help the system overall. I mean, if TitanX starts absolutely ripping, let's say TitanX goes back up to test its previous all-time high. Well, its previous high, not all-time high. That's a long ways away. But let's say TitanX goes up to here. We're almost at a 10x from where we are right now, which means if Taurus followed from where it is at the moment, I mean, I don't even know if I want to say this out loud, but that would be $90 Taurus. I'm just saying. So, I mean, that at that point, I would almost expect people to be taking some profits from Taurus, because that's pretty nuts considering the fact that most people are actually up about 25 to 30x that are in the first week or so, about 20 to 30x. So at that point, I mean, you're up literally in the hundreds. So I would totally expect some profit taking to be had, but that's also a massive opportunity for people that are still in the system to scoop up supply in this area here and basically get cheap shares in the system. So there's a lot of really cool game theory that is going to come to fruition, and we're going to get to watch that essentially live, as we get into the meat of this cycle. We're just getting started now, and I think it's going to get way more exciting than it's already been. And speaking of exciting stuff, we're at the 51-minute mark. I got two more things I want to go through today, and I'll probably end up wrapping this up. One is going to be something that I saw made in the chat in the Taurus Telegram group, which if you're not there, please go t.me/TaurusWin. We would love to have you do VCs basically, or voice chats every single morning at around 8 a.m. PST. And someone in our Telegram chat actually went and made an analytics and insights page for Taurus. This is taurusinfo.fyi. So I think they did a beautiful job. It's a fantastic alternative to the Dune page. They have so many metrics on here. There's the overall metrics, the current supply, there's the active shares, the total ETH input, total TitanX burned, total percentage of TitanX supply burned. We're actually at 0.14%. So we've had a shark and a half basically deleted out of the supply in terms of the supply leagues. And that's pretty damn cool. So we have 33.63% of supply staked. You can see all the metrics here. We've already kind of gone over this, but I just wanted to show you guys this. Shout out to you, Carl. This is such a cool dashboard. And for you to have made this, I mean, it's impressive to see who else in the community has the capacity to make this kind of stuff. I mean, Mike Dean blows me away with his work ethic and how quick he can make things happen and how well he does work. And it's easy to just, take it as, oh yeah, it's just Mike, Mike's just really good at this stuff. But to see someone else making this is just like a really cool experience to know that others in the community can also do cool work as well. So guys, if you want to check this out, I'm not going to go through it all because we've been through pretty much all of this in the Dune dashboard, but taurusinfo.fyi. I'm going to put this in the chat. Please go check it out. And this is another alternative to the Dune dashboard, which is fantastic. And let's go back. And so check this out. It's going to show you the staked Taurus each day in the contract. It is going to show you, and it even shows the individual number of tokens staked per day, which is really cool. The number of stakes. I mean, there's just so much data in this dashboard here. It's crazy. I highly advise everyone to come take a look. It shows like the buy-in burns, how much been used per day. I mean, there's just a ton of data in here that is really freaking cool. Like Taurus burned per day, cumulative Taurus burned, and also, let's see here, daily buy and burn operations, and it just goes on and on and on. There's so much cool stuff in here. I highly recommend everyone come check this out. So Carl, if you're watching this, shout out to you. This is freaking awesome, and everyone should come check it out. So let's see here. Page should update with new info every 30 minutes, pulls new data every 30 minutes. Okay, great. So if that's the case, yes, this will update every 30 minutes. So if it seems a little bit behind, just give it some time, refresh, and it should be good to go. Scott says, ETH is a little bit more gas expensive because it does a swap to purchase the TitanX that gets burned. Exactly. Yeah. So if you are coming in the system with ETH It is going to be a little bit more expensive, but if you're coming in with TitanX, there isn't an extra swap in there, so you don't have to pay for that transaction. So just keep that in mind when you're coming into the system here. So last thing is lots of burn data. Dude, there's tons of burn data. So I don't know if this is you, Carl, but if this is you, thank you for building this. This is fantastic. You did an amazing job. And I think we can finally go on to the last thing I wanted to show you guys. Let me pull it up. I don't know if it worked. Oh, here we go. Okay. I'm going to take this down. Now, got a little something for you guys. There is something coming tomorrow or possibly Saturday or Sunday that you guys are going to hear about, and you guys are going to want to be paying attention to this. If you are excited about Taurus and you also want to play in one of the first opportunities to utilize Taurus, you're going to want to pay attention. Let me bring up a little something, and you might recognize who may have built this. And there's going to be more information on this coming most likely tomorrow. Here we go.
Trade Brawl presents Taurus Titans, the only game where Taurus creations become the prize pool. Crypto's best fantasy league trading game, now built for TitanX. Are you ready to step into the arena? Join now at TitansHub.com.
What do you guys think? It's going to be coming tomorrow. There's going to be a whole lot more info. Any ideas who that might be with? You might know them. I'm excited to show you guys more. That's all I'm going to say for now. But tomorrow there's going to be more data coming out. And I won't say anything quite yet. But I'll raise an eyebrow. That's all I'll say. But more is coming tomorrow. I can't wait to share this with you guys. And man, this is just going to be a really fun time seeing everything be built out, to have everything scaled, and watch how this ecosystem and this community just flourishes and builds into the future. So that's it. That's all I had for you guys today. That's the day 14 update. There's so much happening right now. I mean, Taurus is absolutely crushing it, in my opinion. The data looks absolutely incredible, and we're on the precipice of a whole lot with this bull market. So if you're enjoying Taurus, if you are absolutely loving it, go ahead on X, share it, your ROIs, talk about Taurus. Make sure you're tagging at Taurus when you're using the money sign Taurus, as well as the phrase, welcome to the age of Taurus. I'm trying to get that one as like the nice narrative. And be sure to share this stream, share on X or YouTube or wherever you can, and let people know that you are enjoying Taurus and that you're genuinely excited for the age of Taurus. So 2025 is going to be an amazingly fun ride. Thank you for being here. It's really my pleasure. This has been already so damn cool to be a part of. And again, I'm going to keep repeating this. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that I was going to be a founder in this damn space, going all the way from being just, a YouTuber. So Kirill, thanks, man. Peace out. Welcome to the age of Taurus. Welcome you, or I don't know if I can say that. Thank you, man. Awesome as always, growing. And thank you. Great work. I appreciate you guys. So thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful day and welcome to the age of Taurus.